shortly here. Get everybody on stage and share a lot of great information. We got a lot of great agents that are here today that for the ICONversations. And what Elizabeth was saying, yeah, we all have a lot of different and unique businesses, and I hope everybody's ready to get in that information. My name is Brian Ernst. I've been with eXp coming up on 3 years, and I am so grateful and honored to be here today with how many people that are here, and I really appreciate that. The fact that I can be on stage, on virtual stage, this is so cool. This is just so awesome. I just have to say that. If you guys ever have the opportunity to do this, I recommend it. It's a really unique experience. And I want to make sure that everybody here gets the value that they want to get from this today. So I'm going to ask a lot of questions to a lot of great agents here today. And if you guys have questions, throw them in the chat box. And remember too, if we don't get to your questions, please feel free to reach out to us on Workplace. It's such a great platform for communication and sharing of information. Yeah. So let's get started here. Let's see if we got everybody on stage here. We got everybody here? We got everybody here. Oh, we're all in different places here. All right. So what I'd like to do first is just introduce everybody here. And if they'd like to introduce yourselves, let's talk with the Fredericks. If you guys like to introduce yourselves, take it away.
Renee is always doing a great job. Renee, take it away.
You're funny, Annie. So yeah, Renee and Mike Friedrich. It looks like Mac or Mark, but it is Mike. It's the German spelling. And we're from just outside Sacramento, California, and super excited. We just over the summer hit our 4th icon. So 4 years with eXp and just hit our 4th icon. So we're super stoked to steal Glenn's words.
Fantastic. Trent, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, thanks Brian. My name is Trent. I've been doing real estate for about 20 years. Started off just as an investor. I still invest. My whole purpose to getting in real estate was just to start building a rental portfolio. And I got licensed in 2017 just so I can have better access to information and access to resources. I got with eXp 2 years ago, and just been building my portfolio out and started getting into residential sales. So that's what I'm doing now. And eXp is a great resource for that, is to build my residential sales business.
Thanks, Trent. Kristen.
Hey everyone, I'm Kristen Vining. I've been in the business just over going into year 6. My husband and I have a small team. Came over from Keller Williams a little over 2 years ago, and absolutely love everything about eXp. Honored to be on this panel amongst everyone. Excited to learn from you guys. Excited to share and give what we have and what we have found that works and doesn't work through trials and tribulations and all the blood, sweat, and tear that we go through as realtors. So thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for being here, Kristen. And Kirk. Kirk, you up here? We lose Kirk. I know Kirk was having some trouble getting into eXp world. So some of the joys of technology. Just a little bit about myself too before we get going. I've been in real estate now going on 17 and a half years. And eXp is just an incredible place. I really do enjoy this. This is such an awesome opportunities that just so many things come up, and I'm just so excited about this, and I'm so excited to be on stage with such a unique group of agents that have so much information that I hope you guys are hungry for that information, because we're gonna do our best to share that with you today. So we're gonna get started with some of the first questions here, and we're just gonna go right from the start here. We'll start with the Fredericks again, and we'll start with, hey, what do you contribute to your icon success? What do you contribute most to your icon success?
So Mike in the background is telling me to go ahead and share. So I think that early on we did a lot of community involvement to really grow our sphere. And you know, of course, we've called expireds and done circle dialing and all of the things to increase the number of people that we know, and then just taking really good care of those people over the years. Now we're at a point where our business does come a little bit more we get to work with the best people. We have amazing clients and they refer, and it's just, I mean, a total joy to get to work with the people that we know, like, and or know, love, and trust, really.
Mike, you want to add anything to that too?
Yeah, I mean, Renee summed it up really nicely. Actually, Renee, you're walking. I'm not sure what's happening on the spot. But yeah, it was always, like Renee said, I think I would just add, at the beginning, it was a lot of sweat equity, and now we are definitely at a point where we can use a little bit more check equity, and also the power of the team. We are very strategic about building the team. We've done a lot of mistakes in the past where we just trying to force it, and it didn't work out, and so we took it all back about 2 years ago, just to Renee and I and a full-time assistant. And now we are slowly building, just so we can get, a little bit our weekends back, things like that. But yeah, it's just hard work and sweat equity.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you. All right, Trent, hey, what do you contribute to your ICON success?
I kind of agree with Mike and Renee. The sweat equity from the investment side, I mean, I had to do a lot of deals myself. I mean, I got into it because I was doing home flips and renovating homes to keep as in a rental portfolio. So when I'm able to show good investment returns for myself, I'm then able to use that to promote myself, to work with other investors. So then that's when I started being able to work with a lot of other investors. And to be honest, me reaching ICON status was just me working with a couple of large institutional investors, and I was able to lead the acquisition and sale of homes that had a couple hundred units in the portfolio. So that allowed me to already have sales teed up for the next 2 years, for the most part, and I can keep adding investors like that to my book of business, so I can continue to kind of grow my sales. But I'm trying to use that to leverage residential sales with residential clients instead of investor clients. But yeah, that's how I attribute my ICON success, is just working with large investors.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Kristen, what do you contribute to your ICON success?
So I attribute it all to sheer hustle and grit. This is all about serving clients at a very high level. And I feel like if I've said this once, I've said it a million times, that when people buy people, and when people feel you, and when they know you're genuine, and they can see and again feel the authenticity coming from you, and that their best interests are at heart, and also your best interest is theirs, right? And then it just unfolds. So our first year in business, my background is in photography, and I photographed weddings for more than 12 years all over the country, down into the Caribbean. My little 15 minutes, as I like to say it, is I shot Steph Curry and Aisha Curry's wedding when they got married back in 2011 here in Charlotte, and had a blast with it. And but we, that business had plateaued, and it was time to kind of figure out what my husband and I were going to do when we grew up. And we came into real estate $55,000 in debt, despite having celebrity clients that I photographed. And it's just photography, unfortunately, is just not a super lucrative business anymore. So did well, but certainly wasn't going to get the kids through college. So when we made the leap into real estate, we came into it with a ton of debt, and didn't know what we were doing. Failure just wasn't an option. And we just got to work that first year and loved on people, and those that were, clients of ours in various other endeavors that we had done, including the photography business. Yeah, sure, they were nervous. It took about a year for that sphere of clients, or that sphere that network of people in my database to see us as a real estate company as a true business. But once that started happening, it just kind of all unfolded. We closed 38 units our first year in business. I can't believe not only in 12 months were we out of debt, we were able to start saving. And from there, we quickly grew into a team. And then we kind of shaved it back a little bit. And then we made the move from KW to EXP. And here we are today, in a spot that is just a beautiful place to be. And in addition to that, I really do attribute so much of us being able to Icon because of the team of people, the powerhouse agents that we have behind us, helping us get to level up year over year over year.
Awesome. And Kristen, the photography business, I love your profile pictures, and I love the pictures that you have out there. They're fantastic. So
well, I'm all about like being fun and spunky and memorable. So
that's it works. I like it. I think it's fantastic. So yeah, if you're ever in the same state, I'd love to brainstorm ideas on photography ideas. So
absolutely. I would love it.
All right. So we're going to jump in. I'm going to jump around in some questions here based off a lot of stuff that some of the icons would like to share with everybody. And I think what you guys want to hear. So I'm going to jump right to, I think, one of the biggest questions that I want to know, and I hope you guys want to know this too, is what is your most effective lead generation tool or process? What's your most effective lead generation tool or process? And we'll rotate it around, and we'll have Trent. Trent, if you're comfortable, if you'd like to jump on that question.
Yeah. At this point, I just pay for leads. So I'm using the EXP Make It Rain campaign, Making It Rain campaign. So that's working out pretty well so far, so good. I'm really just like a couple months into really doing some serious lead generation. So I'm using that, and I'm using another marketing agency to generate me some leads online via Facebook and Google. So those are coming in. I think the most important thing to take away from it is the follow-up, however you generate leads. I had one of my mentors mention to me before, when I first started, I was so caught up on leads and trying to get more leads and trying to ask about the quality of the leads. But then later understanding it's all about a numbers game and just filtering through them, and following up is the most important thing to take away from any leads that you get. And of course, you work your circle of influence and work your spheres. And then when you start working cold leads, it's just about your follow-up game.
So Trent, let me ask you a question. You work a lot of investors too, correct? And where do you get them from?
So those leads are best. I initially started finding leads from going to local investment meetup groups. So I would just go to like meetup.com and just find out where investors. It's probably virtual now. I haven't been to one in a while, but I'm sure since COVID is probably virtual. But I go to like local investor meetup groups, and I meet local investors, and I just see what they're looking for. I see with the people with money. There's a lot of people out there with money, a lot of investors. There's no shortage of cash out there. At least I can say that in my market in Atlanta. There's no shortage of cash for investors. So it's really about finding deals. So when you find people that have deals, and then you find people that have money, then you're just matching them up, and it's just finding out what fits. And you being that person in the middle that knows it all and knows these markets and knows the areas, you can easily match people up and broker some deals.
Very cool. Very cool. Let me skip over here to Kristen. What is your most effective lead generation tool or system that you use right now?
So it's called Facebook, and it's free, and I love it. It has built businesses in the past, and it has single-handedly built our real estate group. And it's because it goes back to people. It goes back to pouring into people. It goes back to giving people what they love and what they want and what they desire. It goes back to staying top of mind in front of, at the end of the day, the people that you're Facebook friends with, that's your sphere. Those are your people. And so that is, people joke with me all the time on my team, like, where are your business cards? Like, Kristen, I'm like, it's called Facebook. I would way rather go, let's be friends on Facebook and let's interact and let's get to know each other's lives versus hand you a business card that's going to get thrown away, or versus take a business card that I know I'm going to throw away because I just don't like the clutter. So it's challenging though, right? Because not everyone has this innate sense to get out there and put their life out there publicly, especially when it comes to videos. A lot of people are still uncomfortable with video and, how to get comfortable with video. But if anybody, in the auditorium right now wants to just pop onto Facebook, pop in Kristen Vining, I think it's a good example of how I am continually touching my sphere at least once a day. And it might not always be a real estate post, maybe it's something of my children. And, people get caught up in the likes and the loves and the cares and, the number of comments and yada, yada, yada. I don't really, I don't want to say that I don't care about it. Of course I care about it. I probably care more about it because I know that the more likes and comments that any post has, the better it's going to rank in the news feeds because the algorithms that Facebook has. But moreover, I feel like we as realtors are not only realtors, right? Because that's the core of what we do. It's so important that we stay on top of rules, law, and compliance, and it's changing with our states and et cetera, et cetera. But we can be super knowledgeable in all of that, but if we don't have the ability to get out there and market, if we don't have the ability to really connect with people and to, again, I say real estate's all about psychology and marketing, really, at the end of the day. But, anyway, if you go back over to Facebook, kind of scroll, you'll see that, the posts that are about real estate might see less likes, less comments, whereas like my personal stuff where I'm posting pictures of my kids or that stuff tends to see a bit more of volume of people liking and loving. And that's good because you need to kind of mix that in with Facebook so to get your real estate posts noticed and seen. So, I'll pop into new construction, into model homes, and I'll literally take my iPhone, take photos of the entire house. I'll keep it in my just library of photos. And every now and then I'll get on a kick where I'm like this past week, I've been on this kick where, what do you think about the, designer pattern tiles that are happening in mudrooms and drop zones and laundry rooms these days? Yay, nay. And then you get your audience, you get your sphere to connect and talk with you. And you will be amazed at private messages that you'll start to receive. People asking, oh my gosh, Kristen, where is this house at? And then it just opens up the dialogue. It opens up the conversation. And then you'll have people say, oh my, I'm thinking about the market, but I'm not sure to do with my house. Hey, will you take a look at my floors right now? I've got Summer, this girl, a friend of mine on Facebook, and she's thinking about selling. And so because she's seeing the investment stuff that we're doing and the flips that we're doing and all the pretty pictures that we're posting out there are real estate related, she's connecting to that. And so now she's thinking about, what do I need to do with my house to get it ready for the market? Oh, I'm going to call Kristen. I see Kristen posting all this stuff out there. She's going to know, and I'm going to really value her advice when it comes to my own home. So for us and for me, Facebook. Now, we just this past month partnered with Zillow. We've never bought leads ever. I'm testing 6 months with them since we've just brought on a few more agents. And again, like I said, not everybody engages in social media similarly to how I do it. So I'm realizing that if I want to kind of take a step back from having to do so much lead generating and provide so, like it not just coming from my sphere, but coming not only from, it has to come from everybody else's sphere, not just my sphere, but I've got to find other value in which to be able to give to our agents. So one of the things that we're testing as a team right now is a 6-month partnership with Zillow. It's a little bit of an ouch monthly payment because I'm not used to it, but we look at the big picture, and if it's going to cost us 30 grand over 6 months to see, an incredible ROI, then I'll spend $100,000 a month so long as we're going to see a really strong ROI. So we're just broaching that right now, but what everybody should be doing, in my opinion, is engaging in social media because it's free and it's our people.
Thanks, Kristen. And some people have some questions in the chat box. It's a personal or business Facebook page. How can they best find this? What you're talking about?
That's a great question. So yes, we have a business page. It's the Vining Group at EXP. That's also on Facebook. You can get to it from my personal page. And you know, we don't obviously put personal stuff over there. I mean, maybe every now and then we'll, you know, my director of operations might go, hey, check out what Kristen's doing now, you know, with a flip or something. But for the most part, we do have I think we paid them like $300 a year for, it's a small little RE marketing company that will just put some generic posts out there just to keep it going. But it's good to have that because you have there are more features that are allowed with the business pages. But I work my personal hard.
Okay.
But I love it. And you got to be passionate about it, right? I mean, we go out there and we do the things that we love to do. And if we don't like to do it, then we find ourselves falling out. So I think it's important that, you know, everyone find the one thing that they love and that they can't wake up to do every single morning. And that's what's going to, I mean, from there, pour it all into that, and then you'll see the fruits of your labor.
All right. All right. Thanks for sharing that. All right, Renee and Mike, what is your most effective lead generation source tool process that you guys are using?
I don't want to follow Kristen. That was awesome.
Oh, girl, I've had too much coffee. That's all. It's just coming from the coffee.
Our sphere of influence has definitely been our biggest source of business. And I know that's probably the case for most people. And we try to have fun with them. Truly, our clients become our friends, and we do a lot of stuff to love on them, you know, not just during the transaction, but after the fact. And we really play on the fact that Mike is from Germany, and we do an Oktoberfest event every year. I don't know what we're going to do this year, if we're going to have like time slots where people can come and grab a beer to go. And I don't think that would be very smart from a
maybe not to go.
Is this the most effective lead generation tool?
So, I mean, definitely loving on our sphere and just making that.
All right, Mike, you got something you want to add to that too?
Yeah, and funny thing is, actually, I'm looking at my CTE right now, and I haven't looked at it in a while, and I'm a little bit surprised because Zillow is equal as far as number of transactions go with our sphere this year to date.
Okay, now you said CTE. I know what that is, but for everybody else, what is that?
Okay, so that is just a numbers tracker that we use, which if you're not tracking your numbers, I think you should start there. That's very inexpensive. I think we pay $30 a month, and it keeps track of our deals. We don't use it for financing, for the financial side of things, just because I use QuickBooks Online, but it just keeps track. It keeps track of your conversion rate. It keeps track of where your leads are coming from. Invaluable tool. I mean, if you want to know what you need to change in your business, you've got to track. And this we've been using it for 5 years now, and very happy with it.
Oh, great. So we'll just jump to that question right there. Is how do you track your business? So. Mike and Renee, you guys use CTE. Do you guys use any other tools to track your business?
Yes, our CRM allows us to track, how quickly we respond to leads, and how many leads we are getting, and where the marketing dollars go, and how much it costs us per lead right now. And we just switched to a platform called Ylopo. And you can decide on how much you want to be involved in the marketing itself and how much you want them to do it. So we have it currently in autopilot, and we have them run our Google PPC campaign, which we've just started doing. We've never really done online lead gen on that level ever. And I can tell you right now, it's painful because we just started it, and my cost per lead is $54 a lead, which is, in the world that I live in, a lot. So for, just top of the funnel leads. But so between the back office and then the marketing itself, we have two systems. One is Ylopo and CRM Active that we're combining. One is the CRM and the other one is the marketing machine, and then CTE for everything else.
So with Ylopo, isn't FirePoint the database, the CRM for that?
The
Or is
beautiful
that
thing with Ylopo, you can choose any database you want.
okay?
Their preferred one is really Follow-Up, which we had too, but it just really mainly complicated things for us because we were running two databases and then they sync with each other. But then, big story. I mean, that'd be a class by itself. But Sierra is very powerful, and we used Sierra before we moved over to Ylopo, and we are now using just Sierra Interactive, the CRM version, and we have everything out-facing being Ylopo.
All right, Renee, you want to add anything else in there too?
I was just about to say that, and I just put it in the chat, but we about 2 years ago started investing in Zillow spend as well. And like Mike said, this year we strategically picked a zip code that was less expensive than the one that we live in, luckily. But we also get a huge number of people coming in from the Bay Area. And I think that when COVID hit, it worked out really well for us that we've been investing in that zip code because it's more rural and people are just wanting to get out of the cities. And since they can work from anywhere, we really did well this summer with our Zillow leads. And so I'm super interested to hear how that spend works out for you, Kristen, and what your ROI is, because our return on investment has been incredible, especially this year with Zillow.
It's 6 times, actually. I just did the math.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Great. All right, we'll stay on track here and just talking about how do you track your business. So Trent, how do you track your business?
Using the CRM, KV Core.
Short and to the point.
Yep, that's pretty much. I just put a note in about CTE. Yeah. I've heard about it before, but I'm definitely going to check that out, and I appreciate that that reference you guys made.
Yeah, commitment to excellence, I believe, is what it stands for. I used it years ago, and yeah. All right, so Kristen, what do you use to track your business?
So I typed into the chat box there. We love CTE. We've been using CTE for years as well. Really user friendly. It's fantastic to be able to see year-over-year stuff. In addition to that, we work. I feel like we work various like CRMs and stuff. I mean, KV Core. To we started with Brivity years ago as well, and it was just one of those things that our director of operations. I mean, she would have killed me if we got rid of it because she has just spent years building it out and getting the transaction management system put together through that. And that, the transaction management part with Brivity is like $99 a month, I think. So she lives in CTE, Brivity, KV Core, and those are our three main platforms that we're using right now. Great.
I hope everybody's getting this information. If you guys have questions out there in the audience, please feel free to throw them in the chat box too. Some of the stuff, if you're not familiar with, we're happy to, give you more answers or links to that stuff too, if that's helpful. And we'll jump to the next question because I think this is something that a lot of people want to know too, is being an ICON agent, what does your daily schedule look like? I mean, are you time blocking? What do you do during the day? What does your life look like? And I'm always curious too, because everybody runs their business slightly different or dramatically different depending on what it is. And I'm always curious, what does it look like? So Trent, you want to start on this one? What does your daily schedule look like for real estate?
My schedule varies day to day. It varies day to day, but usually, my assistant or myself, I'll put calendar invites and notifications on my Google Calendar so to just let me know when I have an important phone call or if I need to follow up on something. And I'm usually just following up on big leads or team members or vendors I might be working with. It just kind of varies, but that's usually all it is for me. It's just following my calendar and following up with people. And that's what I think is like, most of the successes in follow up. And that's pretty much all I do every day.
So does that, you're just on the phone all day in front of your computer at home type of thing, or in an office?
Yes, I would say in front of my computer at home, and I'm trying to set my goal ultimately is to be able to build a team, build a network of EXP associates that I'm working with and build business to the point where I can truly just be anywhere in the world and be able to manage my business. So that's ultimately what I'm trying to go after. So as of right now, yes, I've managed to eliminate the back-to-back phone calls I used to get. So now I have an assistant and some people in place to take those calls. So now I just take the important calls and I check the emails. So I usually have to go through a couple hundred emails a day, but for that to give me my freedom to float, I can appreciate that.
I know I tried to give you a call earlier in the week, and your gatekeeper blocked me out. So I guess I wasn't going to buy a house. Apparently,
yeah, I give you my direct line.
Nice. All right, Kristen, what does your daily schedule look like?
Crazy. It's crazy, I tell you.
What does crazy look like?
I get yelled at all the time for not putting stuff on my calendar for my team. I 100% see and understand the value behind calendaring. And I do that. I mean, I look at their calendars, the teammates, I look at, my calendar when I've got hard set appointments, but I don't take 9 to 11 o'clock every single day to, make phone calls and prospect. And for me, it's probably because I feel like I prospect all day long. I am at the end of the day so tired of talking. And in these days, especially to the point where I feel like my teeth are going numb. I talk so much all day long about real estate and, helping to navigate clients through things and helping to educate people as they're coming into the market. And I'm crazy passionate about all the different facets of real estate. So I stay in a constant just state of prospecting all day. I mean, if I'm working out, if I'm getting my nails done, if I'm, the beauty of this is like my husband and I are thinking about buying a lot and building a house. And out of that, you're networking with builders now and you're talking to other colleagues, and then you're finding about coming soon's happening, and then slow inventory crisis. You're like, holy crap, I can't believe I'm just learning about this lot's falling through with these other buyers. And now here comes this $1 million property that nobody else knows about yet, but I've got, information. And so I'm like yesterday on the phone, like, girl, you're not gonna believe what I found out. So when you are staying in a constant state of networking and getting out there and getting belly to belly with people, and I know in certain states it's really difficult with COVID. South Carolina, we're all down here kind of like COVID what? I feel like the state's just wide open. North Carolina, on the other hand, is not so much that. Still very much ghost town when you get into the uptown area. But, I think that you just have to, I think my phones are ringing. I think you just, for me, the calendaring part of it is, it is important, but I tend to deviate away from it sometimes. And then my director of operations will go to plan something. I'm like, and it makes it difficult for her. So, when you're on a team, the value is, I think, really great. Especially when appointments are being set for them, various ways. So we have to see it from the agents, but as I guess in the role that I'm in, where I'm still in production, but just not heavy production like the team. And it is important. If you can calendar it and you can be like the school teachers of the world, I have so much admiration and respect for that.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. All right, Renee and Mike, you guys are up to bat here.
Well,
again after Kristen. Come on, Brian.
maybe I'll rotate the order next time.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
She's got so much energy; it's just infectious. So I love it. So I definitely do more of the prospecting than Mike does. He's more operations. So I kind of feel like Kristen does, where I have it blocked on my calendar, but it really seems to happen throughout the day and all of the time and into the evenings. And I do at the end of the day, I'm like, just shut it down and stop talking to people and go play Candy Crush or something for a minute with a glass of red wine, because I do feel like I'm literally talking all day, every day. And I love it. I love real estate and I love our clients. And so it makes it super fun. But I don't necessarily always follow the time blocked part of my day, because I'm a high I, and so it doesn't really work very well. And I get the same thing, like my assistant and Mike are, constantly like, why isn't that on the calendar? And what are you doing right now? And why aren't you doing what you're supposed to be doing? But it tends to work, and, it's a little bit more fluid than disciplined, I'll say.
All right, Mike, you want to add on to that?
Well, you know what? Believe it or not, COVID has actually helped because we decided when our school district had decided to go virtual for the first couple of months, that it was not a good idea for our kid to be at home by himself in front of a computer. And so I'm actually more structured right now because I have to get to the office with my kid by 8:30, get him in front of a computer. So, and then I typically start out with urgent emails and checking out things as, what we need to do as far as changing stuff around on marketing. But it's not as structured as I'd like it to be. And definitely our coach is always on us for not time blocking as much as we should.
All right. Thank you. So on some of the subjects here that were brought up is basically the fun stuff that's happened this year. If you haven't lived in the whole year, coronavirus, all that fun stuff. And the question that I have for everybody is, what are you doing differently this year that is helping to improve your numbers? What are you doing differently? And here you go, Renee. You don't have to follow anybody. It's all you.
Oh, you're sweet. Thanks.
Y'all are so funny.
So I think one of the things that we've just switched our dialogue from who do you know that needs to buy or sell a house to, how can we help? What's going on with you? And really, loving on the people that are either already in our circle or coming in. And so that's just, we've had some good opportunities to actually help some people, and that always feels really good. And then people know that we care, and so people want to work with people that care about them. And so when it comes up like, hey, this house isn't, everything's from home, oh my gosh, we need more space, and you're the person that they think of automatically.
You're loving on your clients this year. You weren't doing that last year? No, I'm just kidding.
Even more so, come on. And then, I want to say one more thing. I keep forgetting to say, like, follow up, like Trent said earlier, like the fortune is in the follow up for sure. And then also having accountability. So Brian, I know that you're a coach and that you offer like just a ton of value to people in EXP, but having somebody that is, definitely keeping you accountable. And we've been in coaching since 2008, and it's been the thing that has really put structure in our lives and added that extra layer of that accountability, and just really keeps us on track, and having that outside perspective of what's going on in your business and looking at it from a different perspective than you are makes a huge difference in our world.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree with you on that. And Mike, you were bringing up about the things that you're doing differently this year. Anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, we're definitely more Zoom-based. We've always embraced technology and Zoom for our absentee owners, but we've increased the Zoom, and I think, if anything, that whole COVID thing really accelerated the technology aspect of our society by at least 10 years. It's much more acceptable to do everything online right now and not in person. And so it's not all bad, in my opinion. And but that's the biggest thing. It's and frankly, if I have to hop on a Zoom, I don't have to drive 30 minutes to the appointment, 30 minutes back. So I can do more. I can be more efficient. And typically, I have more data available to me just because I can screen share, I can access my computer, and I can pull out a document that I may not have thought of bringing to an appointment. So that's what I got.
That's great. No, appreciate you sharing that. And Zoom has been an integral part of my business for many years, and even more so this year. So Trent, what are you doing differently this year? Are you doing something differently this year to improve your business?
Yeah, I am, and I totally agree with what they were just saying. Is using Zoom, it eliminates the excuse of spending time driving and meeting with clients that might pull no-shows. Somebody does a no-show and you're on Zoom, and you can just move on to the next. So, eliminating excuses or following up with certain clients and leads, focusing on marketing, networking, and continued education. I think that's important. And with the elimination of a lot of distractions and elimination of entertainment and a lot of other things that we're so used to, people can, well, for me, I'm focusing on, friends, family, and business, and eliminating a lot of the other noise. So then you can just kind of really use this year to build business. And that's really how I've been taking advantage of time and and doing things where I'm really, putting more time, focus, and investment into marketing and networking, because it's so much easier now. So there's no excuses. I want to know about everything that's going on and try to get in as many meetings and soak up as much information as I can, because there's always somebody that might drop a little jewel that you can pick up and take with you to continue your business growth.
Fantastic. And I'm with you on that one, Trent. All right. Kristen, what are you doing, or are you doing something different this year than you did last year to improve your business?
Yeah, so like Renee and Mike and Trent, it's especially the Zoom part of it. I have found that it's been, I feel like we just work more efficiently right now because we're able to, people are shifting their mindsets and they don't always want us in their house. So we're able to close things from a listing, kind of a listing consultation perspective, or, or a buying agent. We're able to close things a little bit more efficiently when it comes on the front end, where, it's not taking an hour to go drive to the house, 30 minutes drive to the house, you're there for an hour, hour and a half. My husband says I'm there for 2 hours, which is likely true. And then, 30-minute drive back, and that your brain is kind of spent, and then you're on the phone trying to catch up from emails, texts, and phone calls. And so I've really, I hate these COVID times, and I hate what it's done to so many. It's just been horrific. From a business perspective and real estate for us, it has slowed us down. Hasn't slowed us down in terms of the financial part of it, but it's slowed us down in the rat race of having to be in 10 different places at one time. So I think that's been, a positive and in such a negative time, I guess. And as far as anything else differently, not really. We did Matterport one time on one property in the thick of it all when we couldn't get into homes. It was a vacant one, so we were able to market it that way. But in our market here, I can't get those videos and I can't get the Matterports put together quick enough. I mean, it's under contract. I mean, we're multi-million-dollar places are going in multiple offers, days on the market. We're on the East Coast right now, out in Figure 8 Island, trying to purchase out there for some friends coming down from Manhattan, looking to get out of the concrete jungle and buy on the coast. And that stuff, $4, $5, $6 million stuff out on the North Carolina coast is going in multiple offers, and we're losing out on it. And it's just crazy, this market. So we're just riding it, and I think the value for us right now from the listing side is that we are incredibly versed with multiple offers and how to work them. And then on the buying side, being, again, incredibly versed and how to go get and win the property. I mean, we had something just so disheartening happen to us a couple days ago with an agent. They went $20,000 over asking price, put a huge due diligence amount down, super quick close. Well, not super quick close. That was the part that hurt us. It was like a 30, 35-day close, so still quick, but it was the credit union. So we all know credit unions can sometimes go upwards of 45 days. Sometimes that's minimum. So what this seller did in the multiple offer situation, which I thought was brilliant, we hadn't done it and totally going to do it going forward, is the sellers called all the banks that were part of the multiple offer, and that was their determining factor. So it wasn't like an all cash, no appraisal close in less than 30 days, because, you get that kind of information back and you're like, okay, I can swallow that. It's not like a gulp moment, because I can't compete with that. My buyer can't compete with that. We can't go cash. But in this situation, apparently they didn't have a cash offer. So they were calling on the lenders, and it was, at the end of the day, the lender partner was the teammate that was helping to secure that home. And that lender who made them feel most confident and comfortable in the ability to get to the closing table is ultimately what won that buyer their dream house. And then we lost. And I was like, holy cow. So there again lies the importance of having a solid team behind all these offers, because you've got educated realtors out there that are like, well, let's start making some phone calls to lenders and see how secure, So that was a huge lesson learned. But so, it goes back to, I think, education and educating our clients as best we can from both sides. And that has, I think we've definitely ramped that up in COVID times.
All right. Thanks, Kristen. And I know you brought up a few words here, and I know Mike brought this up too. Mike is really what brought this up is really where, and the question is going to be for everybody here, is where do you invest in yourself in education and coaching? So I know a lot of people want to know, how did everybody get to where they're going? Who helped? How did you learn? And there's such great programs with EXP also, EXP University. I know I teach in the ICON series, and I'm going to be teaching in the upcoming Excel series. I usually teach listing presentations. But where do you invest in yourself for education and coaching? And Kristen.
So I haven't been in coaching since I left KW. I had a MAPS coach there, and I loved it. It was great. I loved that 30 minutes I got every week. And I just didn't circle back to it after leaving. So now as our team is growing, our director of training and agent growth was a broker in charge for 30 years with another brokerage. And by the grace of God, she's joined our team, and she is the person that we brought on board to help with accountability with our team. And so I actually get coaching from her. So but it's kind of more of a life coaching, like, Kristen, take a breath. Kristen, calm down. Kristen, you got way too much going on. Kristen, leverage it, let it go. They can handle it. You don't have to control everything. So she has been instrumental. But, the world is ridiculous coming in here, learning, masterminding with other agents, again, just talking about it all day long, every day. I'm in a constant state of filling my noodle with as much as I can, because I just seem to soak up enough. I love it.
Thanks, Kristen. All right, Trent, question goes to you. Where do you invest in yourself, in your education and coaching and anything of that sort?
Yeah, the last coaching I had was probably about 4 years ago. I did a Robert Kiyosaki, I think it was a Rich Dad training course for like investing. That it was kind of expensive, but I did value it. It opened me up to understanding different asset classes and understanding different investment strategies and exit strategies for different types of assets, which opened me up to manufactured homes, multifamily, in various different deal models. So that assisted me with that. But now I just go to Workplace. I watch people's videos. I go to YouTube. I just soak in any information I can get from somebody that seems like they're successful, or they might know something that I don't know. Because there's so many ways to make money in real estate. And there's so many different business models, and it's just interesting to hear different people's approaches. So then you can start developing your own model.
Fantastic. Thanks, Trent. All right, Renee and Mike, where do you guys invest in yourself in education and coaching? And do you guys do that together, separate? I mean, being a married, couple for real estate, I know married couples that they do separate trainings and others that do it together, and you guys have the floor.
We've done both. So we started out with Mike Ferry coaching. And then I think in 2009, I wanted to go through an NLP program with Matthew Ferry, so one of Mike's sons. And so at that point, we were coaching separately and then oftentimes together as well. And then right now, we went to MAPS because we were with Keller Williams as well, and then switched to Tom Ferry back in 2016 and have been with him ever since. So we've got a Tom Ferry coach, and we go to all of those events. We go to all the EXP events, whether that's in real life like we used to do or virtually, how things are done now. And we just try to read and watch and see what's working for other people and rip off and duplicate, R&D, as the Tom Ferry people would say. And constantly learning. Like if you're not learning, you're dying, right? So always trying to be learning.
Thanks. Mike, anything more you want to add? Because
Yeah,
you
I'd
kind
like
of started a little bit
to
of this.
add, as far as outside the coaching, I'm not the biggest fan on 5 million designations in your email signature. I think that's overkill. But I would say relevant designations. So we do have, being in California, a good number of foreign nationals that are buying real estate. So I have the CIPS, the Certified International Property Specialist certification. That's just me. But then we both have the luxury home marketing specialist designation as well, just because we work in a market where there's a little bit more high end. And then we have a certified negotiation expert certification. So I think those cater to our specific market. And that's why we did those designations, not just because I want to have the accolade, it's just because it helps me in my business, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. And thank you. Well, we're kind of running out of time here. So I wanted to basically make sure the last question here is something that everybody in the room and everybody watching this later on YouTube and everything else can really take away from something. And if you could give a new agent or agents in general one piece of advice of what you've learned in your career, what would you give them? And it could be, like I said, it could be a brand new agent. It could be somebody who just came to EXP. It could be somebody who's been in the business for a while. Maybe somebody who's struggling, or maybe somebody just trying to get to the next level. If you could give an agent, this is the opportunity. You're on stage here right now. If you give them only one piece of advice, what would that be? Kristen?
That is a phenomenal question. I think that where I see newer agents fail is, and even when I was going through at the time, and it was, we made a concerted effort not to do that. And that is stop getting ready to get ready. Just get out there. You be fearless. Do not, you're already immersing yourself in education with EXP. You've just gone through pre-licensing, post-licensing, depending on where you're at with there. With each state's different. But you don't have to have your branding put together. You don't have to have the business cards all put together, even though EXP is super easy. You don't have to have, all the pictures perfect on the website and blah, 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 blah. You just need to get out there and start talking about real estate and start networking and start spilling out of you everything that has been filled in you, whether it's coming out of just your first year in business, your second year in business. It's just getting out there and being fearless and not being afraid, and just do it. I mean, just do it.
Just do it's the message
you
from
can
Kristen.
See my hands right now. My avatar's not moving, but my hands are like, just do it.
Well, when we get that function in Verbella, then they'll see you moving all over the place. I'm sure it's coming. All right, let's go to Trent. Trent, if you could give agents with EXP, whether they're new, experienced, just joined EXP, if you could just give them one piece of advice, what would that be?
Definitely agree with Kristen. You got to get out there and just do it. But once you're doing it and you start realizing there's a method to the madness, I always suggest people read E-Myth by Michael E. Gerber. That was one of my favorite books to read, to really get an understanding that about how you model your business, and understanding that you're wearing different hats. When you're a solopreneur, it's just you. You're the only person in your business, but you're wearing all the different hats. You're the marketing department, you're the accounting department, you're the sales department, you're everything. You're the transaction coordinator, you're everything until you can hire those people, but understanding that's the means to the end. So you're not constantly in a grind of, especially once your business starts growing, because at first when nothing's happening, you're just out there, just get yourself out there. and then once things start growing, start putting, some structure around what you're doing and start building it, and understand that it's your job now, but you're going to be handing that off to somebody. So reach a level of perfection in the way that you're handling your personal business. So then when you hand it off to an assistant or you bring somebody on because your business is overflowing, now you have that standard set where you can now train someone and have them do what you're doing. And they're your arms and legs and handling, typing stuff or doing things for you, but you're still the brains, you're still behind the operation, and you're making sure that those people, you're just delegating. So that's what the book kind of really talks about, is delegation, automation, and using those to build your business, scale fast, and be able to kind of step off of the board and kind of monitor what's going on in your business and grow it and be more of a leader than being in the operations. So I think, that being the ultimate end goal, it can give you better vision and clarity in what you're doing day to day, to know there's a means to an end, and you're not just constantly just going crazy once your business starts to grow.
Thanks, Trent. And that's a great book, The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. Just absolutely phenomenal. I'd recommend that book to everybody too. We're running out of time, so we got to kind of cut this short. Renee and Mike, any advice you'd like to give to agents, if you could only give them one piece of advice?
Yeah.
Real estate's a contact sport, so you have to make the contacts, and done is better than perfect almost always.
And I would add that size does matter, and I wish we would have put more people in our database at the beginning. And don't discard the people that are 2-3 years out if you have a system in place. We have people that have been in the database for 5 years now. They're getting ready to transact. So fill that database and communicate to it daily.
Thanks, Renee and Mike. Fantastic advice. And if I can give any advice to everybody here too, is to get connected. Get connected with EXP. I have a workplace group that I share free trainings in. I threw it in the chat box. You guys are welcome to join that too. I put videos on there, anything that I can to give back and to help EXP grow. I want to see EXP be the #1 company in the world, and I want to be the first choice of any agents out there, because there's so much value. And get connected. Workplace, there's so many groups, there's so much diversity in there of what you're looking for. If you don't, if you're not into doing one type of lead generation, there's so many other groups out there that help with that too. Just learning things. Workplace is so phenomenal, and it's great for connection too. So that's the advice I get, is get onto Workplace and get connected as much as you can. Get connected with EXP in any way that you can, and it'll change you. You'll learn from others. Surround yourself with people who are doing what you want to be doing. And the Jim Rohn quote that I love the most is, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So I'm so honored to be on the stage here today with Renee, Mike, Trent, Kristen, and Kirk, who couldn't make it up here. Technical issues. I'm so honored to be here with you guys, because I love that Jim Rohn quote, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So thank you everybody for being here. I really appreciate that. I appreciate you taking the time out of your real estate businesses to be here, to learn, to grow, to absorb information. And if we can help, I know, I'm going to speak for everybody on stage here. I know the people on stage here, we're happy to help if we can. And Workplace is the best place to connect too. Workplace chat, so we know specifically who you are too. It's the easiest place. So thank you, everybody. I hope everybody has a great day, great weekend, and let's go sell some houses, everybody. Thanks.
Let's do
Thanks,
it.
everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Brian.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.